All right, today we're joined by Henry Hayes, who's an AI consultant and an expert, and he's going to talk to us a little bit today about what he's seeing out in the marketplace today with AI. So, Henry, as a start, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Andrew, good to be with you. My name is Henry Hayes. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of a company called Disrupt Ready, which aims to basically help the most American businesses make sense of artificial intelligence. We do that in kind of three ways. We do a lot of education in a non-technical way. We then help companies figure out a strategic roadmap. So what's available in the next 12 to 18 months in this ever-changing landscape. And then we build bespoke AI custom solutions. And so never a dull moment around here. Change is happening.
Absolutely, and you're all over the place. And so let's start really big. So what is the current state of AI today? What's happening right now that every single business person needs to know?
So we're doing this in the first quarter of 2025. And I would say you have to kind of level up to really put your finger on the pulse of the rate of change. I mean, Andrew, we said we've never seen anything this fast, and it's not close. So ChatGPT took 5 days to get to 1 million users when it launched in November of 22. Netflix took 3.5 years to get to that number. And so Netflix was thought of as very disruptible, and it was. So normal business cycles, i.e. the internet in the late 90s, early 2000s, you'd have a cycle or a few business years to get your head around a strategy. We don't have that now because the innovations are coming so quickly that a lot is happening. So we always say the best day to get into this is yesterday, even if that means individuals will skin their knees and make some mistakes, because that's how you learn. So I think it has to start with a true respect for how fast this is moving. I always go back to the launch of the automobile in 1908. It took 2 full years in the town that Henry Ford launched that car in to get roads right. 2 years. And that seems like an eternity today in AI, where we're talking these developments are week to week, day to day. And so that's not normal for humans. So what I think you're going to have as a result of this is you're seeing big winners and big losers. Folks that are, they're focusing on the noise, not the signal, and they're waiting too long. So that's kind of my assessment of where we are. I can get more into the details, but that's the macro.
Sure. And now you mentioned, and with a company like Disrupt Ready, you're building capacity for disruption, right? And this last year has had a lot of it. But as you think back to 2024, what do you think was the biggest shift that happened in 2024?
In terms of artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's this idea, Andrew, that you can have a personal assistant that knows everything. This is very simply. And I would always say, look, forget the technology for a second. Just imagine that Albert Einstein is in your back pocket and at your recall with whatever you want to know, whenever you want to know it. And for people to get their head around that, and that's not Google, by the way, our traditional search, what we're seeing is there's a moment where people head nod to go, oh, I didn't know it could do that. And that's where we teach to focus on the signal, not the noise. The noise being robots are going to kill us, AI is going to take jobs. That's noise, it's clickbait, it's not helpful, it's not true. But the human brain, when it wants to run to safety, attaches to the noise. So I saw a lot of signal in 24, meaning all these boring, mundane, and tedious workflow tasks. And every job has them, every job. So the dream begins when you say, Andrew, what if you could have a component, if not all, of those 3 taken away? What would your job look like? That's what we're marching toward.
Absolutely. So we see this move toward automation. And I know there's a lot of concern in the business community and among workers about AI. But, you and I have talked in the past that we're not sure if the impact on the AI is going to be on the business side, or it actually may be on the consumer side first before we see it trickle to the business side. And it's going to be interesting to watch that interplay, because AI feels like it's everywhere right now, right? It's like you mentioned Google and Gemini and customer service and bots. And we have DJX and Spotify. So what in your experience as you're working with businesses, what are some examples that you're seeing where AI is having a tangible benefit right now, right here?
So you mentioned customer service, Andrew, and boy, that has gotten better real quick. Now here's the problem. We're all used to the voice where you hit 0 19 times because you want to talk to a customer service rep, a human. So that's the humans, and that is justified because most of it's been terrible. The stuff that we're building is not that. I'll give you an example. We built recently for a hospital system where she's called Phoebe, and she basically is a virtual assistant to traffic your need: parking, billing, food, nurse's station, my room's too hot. And it sounds really cool, and it is cool, but behind the scenes, it's just a bunch of connection pipes. And she is good enough to have a one-to-one conversation with patient Andrew such that he can get his need or his issue resolved quickly. And when that can happen, then you go, okay, stop. Are we employing and paying people to do this? And if the answer is yes, then you have to say, can it be done cheaper? And then the question, if you really want to be honest, is does the human that's doing that today really enjoy the work? And I think most of the time the answer is no. Now, you might have a volunteer who they love talking to people, and that's great. Like, you keep doing that. But for the most part, these are, I mean, Andrew, at one point in our nation's history, a gas lamp lighter was the #1 most employed profession.
Wow.
So little Andrew and little Henry, one day, son, if you play your cards right, you can go light a gas lamp. Obviously, we don't need that anymore, right? And so change is always happening, innovation is happening. So I think you have to ask, like, do these people really want to take these calls day in and day out? And in healthcare, you talk about incredible disruptive space. We've done the research. Talk to any surgeon who does a process. Let's take gastroenterology, for example. Those guys do colonoscopies day in and day out. Well, guess what? It's the same 4 or 5 questions for Nancy up front every day in and day out, week, quarter, year. And so she's gotten used to answering them. But we ask, well, wait a minute. What if there's a better way? What if the doctor's voice and or video personage can answer the question? Is there a marketing and benefit to the patient? And we would say yes. So a lot of change in customer service. So the idea is, if your business employs someone to take a phone call, you have to tap the brakes and go, can we do this better? And the answer is probably yes.
All right. So along with the way, you let things like Phoebe and other kind of projects. What are you seeing as the biggest challenge or concerns that businesses that you are working with have about AI today?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in the healthcare space, the immediate concern is HIPAA, right? So in other words, they're saying, Phoebe better be correct. To which I say, it kind of reminds me when Charles Barkley was quoted as saying, I got misquoted my own autobiography. Like, well, wait a minute, you're right. So, and the technical explanation of that, Andrew, is we're basically taking their data and she's learning on it. So she's learned it. If it's wrong, then it comes from your data. So that's one concern. I think the other concern is, that's a fair one. It's, does the public want this? And we say, we think so. In fact, we should lean into it and let's really find out. Meaning, she says right up front, hey, I'm the virtual assistant. I'm here to try and help you more quickly. So we've exploded the bomb before it goes off. And I think the customer experience, Andrew, they'll tell the tale of, do they like this or do they not like it? And if they don't, then we'll change it and we'll get better. But when you think about how many people that we employ that do these jobs, wow, it can be done better. And like I said, they don't really love the job in the first place.
So we're not talking about replacement, right? We're talking about taking somebody, automating it, but then upskilling them to get into a much better position where their human knowledge actually comes out and is applicable, right? So we're taking away the mundane. And is that what you're seeing so far in terms of use cases? Are they the most strongest use cases at this point?
Let me give you another great example of what you just said. Okay, long story short, we have a customer that is on the river operations in the Mississippi River. So they load and unload the large vessels that come up the Mississippi River. Well, the payroll in that business, Andrew, is very specific. They work 24/7. For instance, if a Venezuelan ship is unloaded, it's a certain tax code. If a Chinese ship is unloaded, it's a different tax code. So you have to get Tankerman Andrew's payroll right, or he's going to go somewhere else. Okay. So what that means is it's a boring, mundane, tedious task for the payroll clerk. So we connected an API connection to their payroll platform. We took a 25-hour-a-week chore to 20 minutes.
Wow.
And now she just verifies that we got it right. Now, so what does she do with those 22 hours, 23 hours? Andrew, they now do payroll for their competitors with the same system.
So they expanded their business through AI, which is phenomenal to think about, right? And as you're discussing this, you're talking about repurposing somebody. And I think, you and I have talked in the past, it's not far-fetched to think that as we move forward, that we're going to be in this agent-based organizations where we're going to be working right alongside AI, and you're not going to be able to tell if it's Henry the person or Henry the AI, right? And I know that may sound a little scary, but I think we're going to kind of warm to this idea because we're going to see the benefits that come. But the implication is that we have to prepare and think about what should someone who's coming out of a degree, who's really trying to prepare for an AI first workforce, because we're transitioning from cloud first to AI first. So that means new skills. As a student thinks about the skills that they're going to need for this type of environment, what do you think are the most important things that they need to do, learn, and take away from that?
Yeah, so let me go back to your agent piece because you're right. That's just choice. And I always use this metaphor. If we go to the bank this afternoon, Andrew, we have a choice. I give you a check. You could sign the check, get in your car, go find the nearest location, wave to the teller, sign it, put it in the vacuum tube thing, get your receipt, get the mint, and come home. And it'll be 29 minutes. Or you could take this out and turn it over and take a picture in 9 seconds.
Right.
Of course, you're going to do the second, unless maybe you know the teller, maybe there's whatever, but you see the point. Innovation comes with a smartphone, being you have mobile banking. So of course we choose mobile banking because it's a gigantic savior of time, right? And so the same will be said. So Andrew, in pretty short order, will have an AI agent that all he does or she does is shop for your shoes. Size, color, return policy, price, delivery options, reviews, all those things it knows about you. Because let's face it, I don't love to shop for shoes. But if I have an agent that knows everything that I want and it says, Henry, I found blank, buy? Yes. That took half a second. So I don't have to go to the mall. I don't have to search Amazon. I don't have to read reviews. It'll do it for me, right? And the great thing about the agents is, so it'll work for some, it won't work for others. That's okay. That's okay. Now, let's get to your question about skills and students. I'm a big believer in this. Okay, give me a little room here. I think most students, especially the ones that don't have coding experience, can still play. And that's the pick and shovel economic theory. Back in the 1840s, when the gold rush was upon us, Andrew and Henry heard that there were golf ball sized nuggets in California. So we both bought a horse. We made the 3-month journey. And when we got there, we figured out 1 in 10,000 miners found gold flecks and they got rich.
Wow, yeah.
Right? But every single one had a pick in one hand and a shovel in the other. So the guys who found gold got rich. The guys who sold the picks and shovels got wealthy. There was a German that made the same trip to San Francisco. And he noticed when Andrew and Henry would be in the creek beds that the khakis we wore got ripped every time. So Levi Strauss created denim jeans. He got wealthy because every single gold miner had a pair of jeans. So what's the transition? The transition is there are going to be a lot of traditional businesses and people that are just misunderstood. They're fearful, or they just don't know what they don't know. So what an incredible opportunity to say, hey, I know just enough to hold your hand to get you across that river where you're comfortable and you can make some decisions. That in and of itself is a multi-billion-dollar business right there. Another one that I'm really big on because we're hiring them, Andrew. So they're called AIPMs, Artificial Intelligent Project Managers. So we'll do a build, we'll hand it off to the customer, and that's when the AIPM takes over. So traditional project management skills, but with a lot of depth knowledge about artificial intelligence. So the coders aren't going to do that. The AIPMs will. They're as valuable as my coders, but I can't find them fast enough. So, and that's a great example, Andrew, of a job being created where there was none. So people say, oh, it's going to take jobs. Yeah, but it's also going to create jobs.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. I think this is going to unfold in such an exciting and interesting way. And I appreciate you sharing insights today. For anyone who's interested, how do they connect with you? How do they find you?
Yeah, the best way is on LinkedIn. We don't do business cards any longer because it's my digital business card. My name is Henry, Hays, and then we're at disruptready.com. We love educating, we love helping, we love doing this. We love having friends like Dr. Schwarz, who the community is vibrant and growing. So yeah, I'd love to connect.
Oh, wonderful. And one last thing, pitch your business, tell people what you do. So if they're interested in your services, so give a quick pitch of your company.
Our specialty is business executives, Andrew, who come to us and say, hey man, we don't even know what we don't know. Forget, something in AI. We don't know what we don't know. We take them, we educate them. at least a strategy, and then we put them in a pilot pretty quickly. So we have a training mechanism that does that. And so I will get them on the other side of here. I tell my customers, I'll get you to what you know, what you don't know. Then you got to do something. It's your choice. So that's who we specialize in.
Wonderful. Hey, Henry, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I'm sure the students will get a lot from that. Thank you so much.
Go New State.